Yes, family. Yes. Greetings in the name of His and Her Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First, Empress Razera Menin. Yes, family. One perfect balance. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome again to another special edition. Yeah, I know you always say special. It's going to be special. We find ourselves in this sacred space where we get it correct. Whew, I'm gonna drop some stuff tonight, might upset some people, so I'm gonna say that in the early. That's considered a disclaimer. So any opinion stated here tonight is solely mine. If you don't agree, that's fine. But we gonna get into it. Elections in Barbados, man. Who will win the race? Who will win the race? So before we even think about all that's going on, yes, we are up to a bit, 8 o'clock or a little bit thereafter, well, few technical difficulties. I think Phil said it earlier in terms of them jamming stuff. I find certain things happening now that had stopped for quite some time. All of a sudden, kind of started happening again. So I don't give blame, because I don't want to blame them in error. Let's just say that we here now. You see, and we gonna roll it, and we gonna run this thing till the wheels fall off, man. But I got a tune I want to drop real quick for sure. But the brother Red Plastic Bag, I got this tune from some folks. Big up to the brother who played at the session for the sister. I know you call his name real quick. But the DJ brother, young man I met, maximum salute. I don't recall his name. But the brother that played at the sister, he's in there in Newberry. But this tune right here, tell a friend and tell a friend. We want y'all to listen to this tune with Red Plastic Bag, man. It's called Bajans Can't See. And I think this is from 2007. This is from 2007, y'all. As a matter of fact, as fate would have it, if I'm not mistaken, in 2007, I would like to think that the BLP was in power. If you want to be technical, I think when they came forward in elections with 2008, if I am not mistaken, I could be wrong. Fire Pub is 10. It could be, yeah, it could be 2008 was election. I could be wrong, but I think the BLP was in play in 2007. If I'm in error, somebody just correct me. But this tune was written in 2000 well, prior to 2007. He performed it in 2007. But I think that is worth a listen, man. Bajans Can't See. Take a listen, family. In the meantime, make sure you go tell a friend and tell a friend.
You see me? I'm changing direction, man.
Marcy changing direction. Let me pull that forward again. Marcy changing.
You see me? I'm changing direction, man.
Changing direction. Back in 2007, and they voted the D. The D had a little 10-year run. Brought back in the B that they got rid of, only to get stung again. Really.
Far as I can see here in this country, a lot of people walk around blindly, and disease must be attacking us. Or maybe we just turn a blind eye because we don't want to see. But my open eyes tell me the reason is that I'm only seeing party. But whether we cannot see or don't want to see, the facts will remain to see. In front of our eyes and we don't realize what's happening in this country. They just can't see.
They just can't see. They just can't see. I don't know, y'all. If y'all can hear this, give me some feed forward, man. Matter of fact, let me pull this, man. Let me pull this, man. If you can hear this tune, first of all, again, family, those who know coming on, welcome. Politically Incorrect, where we get it correct. Shalom, Shabbat for those observing the Sabbath. Assalamu alaikum, Islamic community. Ashe, Hotep, my conscious people. And as always, Rastafari to the brethren and sister. But if you can hear this, give me some feed for it. When y'all listen to these words, more importantly, write this link down. Red Plastic by Barbados Calypso Music. Red Plastic by Bajans Can't See. You need to listen to this song. And big up to Melissa on this, by the way, because I never even heard this song before. She brought this to my awareness. The brother was playing it. So I had to drop this tonight. I can't wait to drop this tonight. This is so applicable. It's not even funny or applicable. Depends if potato, whatever it is. You know it is what it is with these words and memes. I ain't want nobody make the meme or the me, but they make a meme on the me. Make sure we do this like we do it for TV. But in the meantime, make sure Bajans can see, because this right here is what matters most. We got some folks coming through tonight, including, well, I won't call names, because some folks on the road. But tell a friend and tell a friend. I see you, Jarvis.
As I can see here in this country, a lot of people walk around blindly, and disease must be attacking us. Or maybe we just turn a blind eye because we don't want to see. But my open eyes tell me the reason is that I'm only seeing party. But whether we cannot see or don't want to see, the fact still remains to see. In front of our eyes, and we don't realize what's happening in this country. They just can't see. Night has fallen on the union. They too have become victims of inclusion. The workers' rights will be compromised if they have political ties, and you never know exactly where its loyalty lies. They just can't see.
Hey.
Conflict of interest is happening. Those who are playing are the same ones who are moving. And some are using the public funds to throw us for the elections out in the field of the Kensington environment. But we see who seeks money. And the love I service you see from last final night. I see Bajans have a problem with sight.
Bajans have a problem with sight. Yes, Sonia, I know that song. Actually, I was going to play that at the end of the program tonight. I got that lineup already. The country's sick. The country ain't well.
Not even grumbling, must be Bajans blind, as simple as that.
They're just blind, man.
Working glaucoma, damage retina, astigmatism or myopia. I'm convinced it cannot be cataract.
So it can't be cataract.
But the way they behave in Parliament, right in front of the eye, people singing the nasty comments. Maybe this thing is a sign, but I will always insist, just like Elder, her seeing is not in fact. The only way to describe it, be blind like West Indian bat. They just can't see, respect for police has gone off course. Law and order, seemingly losing force. I see security, search police, and gatekeepers kept them in their
All right.
out of order, the law is security in chief. They just can't see, respect for heroes gone from out there. World Cup cricket made us forget our heroes day. But then again we treated pennies as so. We forgot the great time, as you know. Out the sight, out the mind. That is the way things are said.
Listen, when y'all get a chance, check this tune. Check this tune, man. I ain't gonna play the whole thing, but with sight, Bajans have a problem with sight. Listen, y'all get a chance, check out RPB. Although I ain't hear nothing recently from the general, you know how it is when you get a phone call or two, or three, or four. But yeah. That one there. I mean, the general speaking though, Bajans can't see. Anyhow, family, like I said, I think this was back in 2000 and yeah, I think this was back in 2007. I think the BLP, was, like I said, was in play at the time. In any event, here we are again, and it's almost like prophecy. They just really, really can't see. Find ourselves right back where we started. Eating to you two family all the way from Dominica. Big up to the brothers and sisters. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. All I can say, family, right now is first of all, big up to Angela White and her ministry. You know, they food drive. I was on her page earlier. I see all the abundance of food they're feeding people. It's such an honor. I feel good. I feel great. We got to get back into things, family, and make it happen, help each other. So I definitely want to big her up on that as well. Like I said, I got a brother about to come in here in a minute, but I got a question I want to put out there. What y'all think about it, so that by the end of this program tonight, we can have a serious discussion. And yes, I send a link to Isis. I ain't here and see her yet. When she ready, yes, she will hop on and jump in. But in the meantime, we're gonna go across the water here. We're gonna touch on a few things. We're gonna ask the brother to come on in. Y'all, he's not a stranger. Um, he might be a springer, but he's not a stranger. You know, want to welcome the brother again back to the platform, brother Philip. And you know, like I tell you, man. The opinions I express tonight are solely mine. I take full responsibility, but I don't know, man, because So I think man. Anyhow, shalom, Shabbat, brother Phil. How you doing?
Shabbat shalom, my dear brother. It is a pleasure to be on with you again tonight. I'm doing
Yes,
great. Mm.
wonderful, wonderful. I was saying earlier I had to put out a disclaimer before I even start tonight because I went to one of the meetings last night with a sister. Big up Melissa Tate, by the way. And
Yes.
I got to say that because I see people doing things. Don't get me wrong, but people have
Mhm.
different back ends and resources, and people kind of new, not new to this, and got a little experience and a bit of mileage. But to see somebody who's fresh out the woodwork, hit the ground running in the capacity, and really just going at it for the love of the people, full stop. I mean,
Yes.
just observing that, I said to myself, I don't even know if you know, like if people really paying attention to this election. I honestly don't think people are really paying attention. I think people really are fed up to the point where they have had it. They don't want to hear nothing from
Mm.
no from the two of them. So others are getting squeezed in between, like they say when two elephants fight, only the grass suffers.
Right.
But this young lady right here has a message, man, that I mean you can't listen to it. And the thing is a passion and an idea and a model to roll out. So unlike political meetings where you hear it's theatrics really. I noticed all of
Mhm.
a sudden how all COVID, like COVID was suspended. There's no more COVID in Barbados
No.
for the last 2 weeks. And next week, you ain't gonna hear no COVID. I bet you after that, though, depending on how it unfolds, man, I telling you. But notice that there's no more COVID in Barbados.
COVID will be in full effect again after the elections.
COVID, right now, COVID
These
going
are
on pause.
holidays right now.
COVID,
Yes.
right now, COVID taking a hiatus.
Mm.
It decided it worked 2 years in a row back to back. It put it duty in. Right now, it say, you know what? I just gonna take a little break, let them do the election. I can get a little rest, and I can jump back in there as soon as they finish. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I pass by, I see the meetings, I see the videos, I see the theatrics, I see the. I mean, it's just like, this is a gimmick. I mean, and
Mhm.
by the way, not that I'm promoting COVID or COVID protocols. I'm just saying I noticed that what they were doing, they're not doing anymore, and nothing was changed. Nothing was said. It was changed. It's like do your thing, do your thing.
Yes, I mean, it goes according to whatever is in their best interest. And I say they, not calling any names. Obviously, we think we know who we're talking about.
Of
I
course.
purpose not to call names because I don't want to give any life to anyone.
Yeah,
Yes,
no forward. They get no forward. None.
no forward, none, none
None.
whatsoever. Yeah. But Emmanuel, it's a privilege and also a very great honor to be here again, so close to the date of election. I was in the community yesterday. Melrose area. I received a call from a young man in the afternoon driving on the highway, and he
Mhm.
said, "Listen, I got you. I saw you on the Marcia Week show, and I really like what you were saying, and I want to see. I want to meet with you. I want to vote for you, but I need to see you, and I need to get some posters and so on and so forth." I drove to his home in Melrose, and I brought some posters. And while I'm putting posters up on the pole in front of his house,
Mhm.
he's telling me the story of his circumstance. He had to quit his job to look after his elderly mother because the pressure of the COVID and everything, and so on and so forth. I won't go into the full story. However, while I'm there, the neighbor comes across and she looks at the poster on the pole, and she reads it. She goes back, and I hear another lady talk. Who is he? And oh, he's a candidate. He's our candidate for St. Thomas. Oh, I want one of those posters. She came back out, took three
Wow.
posters from me, took my stapler, and went and they put those posters on their property, right on their property. I found that,
Wow.
yes, that was something else. And then while I'm there with him, a taxi man pulls up, and he wants to know who I was. He explained, and all of a sudden he wanted a poster. While he's there, another gentleman pulls up that I happen to have met once before, and he starts telling me, this is a strong BLP area, but we haven't seen our candidate, and the only time he's here is on the poll. And he starts pointing to the poll. He says,
Wow.
and all this, and I promised them I would come tomorrow and spend some time with them. But interestingly enough, I received another call today, and I had put some posters up in the King Garden area, and the gentleman called me, and he said to me, "The fellows want to see you," right? And they gave me a time, 4 o'clock, to meet with them, and I drove up there, and sure enough, the fellows were there, and I was with them till about 6 o'clock or so tonight
Mhm.
before I had
Mhm.
to leave to do a few other things. And I met some very interesting people, probably about eight or so people altogether from, people in the neighborhood. And they were curious, wanted to know, basically what are the plans going forward? What is my vision? Where are we going as a country? But
Mhm.
to a man, everybody's frustrated. They're not just frustrated about COVID. They're frustrated with the lack of transparency. They're frustrated with the lack of direction. They're frustrated with the fact
Mhm.
that they feel that they have no voice. They have been left
True.
out.
True.
See? And people, I sat with those folks there, and Emmanuel, I must tell you, I left there feeling so good after having conversation with them and they with me. And it was an interaction. I actually videotaped some of it. I will probably share
Mhm.
some of that with you over the next day
Mhm.
or so. And I didn't tape the whole thing, but some of it, because I felt the conversation. It wasn't frivolous. It wasn't about drinking a beer or something. It was about understanding, listening, being empathetic to the needs of the people, listening to their concerns. One gentleman showed up. He came kind of late into the situation, but he was so knowledgeable and he was so grounded.
Mhm.
He reminded me of Melissa, our candidate Melissa there. This gentleman is a businessman, he's a small businessman, has a freighting company. And he get his knowledge and his understanding, his basic common sense approach to things was so refreshing that I really enjoyed talking to him as well. But all of them were fabulous, I won't call any names on here, but for this, for people's privacy. However, I'm going back to visit those people tomorrow, and I will probably canvass the area definitely by Tuesday again, because I felt that they genuinely want to help save and change the situation. My slogan: make that change. You
Right.
cannot keep putting new wine in old wineskin. It will break. We know
That's
what
right.
that means. We cannot keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. That is
Serious.
madness. The
Serious.
system is
Serious.
not designed by us or for us. It's only designed for us to work for everybody else, and not Monday to Friday, so you can safely get back Monday to do some more work so they can make some money, right? We need to create our own.
That's right. I was even telling somebody today, and I've been echoing this recently as well, that tourism, they took us off for everything, shut down every industry, especially agriculture, which, by the
Yes,
way, Europe was not built on tourism. It was built on agriculture, on the
yes,
backs of everybody else, which is funny.
right.
But they took that away from the people after they quote unquote emancipated you, which, by the way, does not mean freedom. And here's the proof of it, and put you in a position of servitude to be a servant, which is funny because
Yes,
being a servant is the same thing as servitude. Nevertheless, tourism, you got to clean after the white man, pick up after the white man, cook for the white man, pour the drink for the white man, serve the white man, carry the bags for the white man. And all. So when this thing started as tourism back then, understand it was mainly Europeans, Caucasian Europeans doing the bulk of traveling. Not saying that others weren't. My point is, it was catering back then to them. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like we were investing in the future of ourselves. These hotels back then weren't owned by the government. It's funny because the government talk about tourism as if the government had a string of hotels and all the money and revenue from the hotels was going into the coffers of the government, which is the people of the land, and all of us were being enriched, and being put in a position to develop generational wealth by these visitors. No,
right. No,
it wasn't. It was foreign investors, private investors, laundering and all kind of stuff. Because right after Cuba, as a matter of fact, there's a correlation to tourism being developed in Barbados and
Mhm.
America invading and shutting down Cuba and
Yes,
chasing the
yes,
launderers
yes,
and the gangsters out
yes.
from their hiding spot. So they had to find
You're right.
somewhere else to come and hide and do the things they were doing. And I'm not going to say they chose Barbados, but kind of think of it, no other Caribbean country at the time developed tourism in the same way. So I'm going to make the assumption that they left one and came here. My
Mhm.
2 cents. But this
Yes,
thing about then giving people minimum wage in the sector, where you work in the, what do you call it? The hotel sector.
yes.
You work in the
Hospitality, the
hospitality
hospitality.
section. So we're gonna give you something called minimum wage. I told someone, you know what minimum wage really means? It means that I would love to pay you if your boss or someone you work for
Mhm.
decides to give you minimum wage. What they're telling you is that I would love to give you less, but it's illegal.
Yes, I give you the minimum that
I give
I'm
you the
allowed
bare
the law to give you.
minimum without
Yes,
breaking the law. Because if it was up to me, I would give
yes,
you less.
yes, absolutely.
So that is the image of God. So when you hear these so-called ministers and stuff talking all these promises of the future and promises of this and promises of that, up to now I've heard no talk about the republic. I ain't hear no talk about this reform and that reform. The brother said last night that they want to reform pension, which is funny because how do you reform pension? You plan to give them more? Because if
No,
your
less,
conversation is not to give them more, it is to give them less.
less. And that's an
So
IMF condition. All this money that we've
exactly,
been borrowing,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
We felt good for a minute. They gave us some. Marie Antoinette said, "Give them cake," right? We got the cake. Now we got the real hard reality. We got a bellyache. Too much sugar. Too much of that sweet thing that was tasted so good to the palate, but now it's burning your stomach. And
Brook
this is
Laps.
where, yeah, there you go. We have to pay it back. We have to borrow our money that we worked for 400 years, borrow it and pay it back at an interest rate, right? And I don't get me started on this one. This is a
Look, here's the
whole
worst part. Here's the worst part. Here's the worst part with this whole thing. And again, Bajans can't see. Like I can't even. I mean, like I said, I've never heard the tune before. I'm really big on the calypso thing. I know one or two tunes in between, but but I wasn't really following that, especially social commentary. I might pay attention to that, but I didn't know this one. But let me show you a science. The Credit Union of Barbados, right? And this is a shot at the credit union. Shots fired, man, to the Barbados Credit Union there in Belmont. I don't even know the others, but I just feel that one specifically. I don't know what kind of in-house espionage going on, right? I don't know who's the man in charge, but I would have to check him to see if he got
all
ties
women,
with
all
central
women.
bank and people, because the credit union in Barbados right now has over $1 billion in assets, over $1 billion. So why would we borrow money from an outside bank with all these conditions in the event that we default, we got to give up whatever to the outside bank. Why not go to the credit union that is sustained by the small people in Barbados, what they call the small man? I don't know what the hell is a small man. That's short. But other than that, and the so-called small man, this madness, this mind control crap they be telling people. Because they got over $1 billion. That ain't small, but anyhow. So why don't we go there, negotiate something, and then utilize the assets then to do the investments and let the bank, let the credit union develop a team to manage the funds to make sure that it goes and does what it's supposed to do to ensure the success of the project and the return in terms of payment. So in the event that something happens, the money stays in the island. Unlike the Chinese loan, where you get China give you a loan, then you got to hire the workers to build the project to pay them with the loan that I gave you. Then you still got to pay back the loan I gave you that you pay back me in the first place. Madness.
Yes.
I'm not an economist, but I got a funny feeling that people in bed with people. People in bed with people.
Let me speak to the credit union league here. First of all, the rules are so awkward. You imagine that they want us to feel like we have something special. Yes, I don't knock the credit unions because I think they are special. But the problem is, we have they gave us a credit union movement, but they broke one leg and they tied the other hand behind. They tied one hand behind our backs and they told us go build now. When you go to the credit union, you're limited as to what you can borrow. You're limited. You don't even you can't have a bank. You can't have a checking account. You can't have a business account. All these things are limited. So what it is really is a big piggy bank that all of our people take their hard-earned money and
Right.
they just work hard and they do save money. And they put it in those, and then at the end of the week or whatever, they have to take all that money and take it over to the other people's bank, right? In
Don't
a
go
big
there.
old, in a big old barrel, and say, look, and they say, oh, good boy, you did good, right? And then they're gonna give it to somebody else over there, nobody that looks like you and me, because for us to go deal with them, the first thing that happens is that, what? Oh, no, you're not capable, but I'm gonna go give it to this guy. So they're actually using us to encourage us to put our money and together and then come bring it to them in a big old pile, and then there's no benefit, no direct
And
benefit.
look, these credit unions, right? I bet you that people in the credit union who really believe, because what it is, the credit union give out little small loans, right? Because most people know that they won't qualify if they
Keep
went to
them
the big
in.
bank. So the idea that I could get something for the credit union, you could get a little something, because it's all a gimmick. The credit
Yeah.
union is basically an extension of the plantocracy. That's all it is. And these individuals that run it benefit themselves because what they do, like you just said, they take your money, keep it in a little, like you said, a piggy bank, and I bet it's a pig for real. And like you said, then they pull the hog across the street to the white man bank and say, look, I got a fat one for you today, man.
Mhm.
Go ahead and slaughter it. And the
Yeah.
white man take the hog and go and chop it up and feed everybody else but you.
Yes.
But you.
You're still
And you
waiting for a
and you
crumb.
still there waiting for your small loan.
Right.
Even the terminology they be using, I mean the
Yes.
terminology. If you want to keep a plant from growing, you keep it in a small
Yes.
pot.
A base. Yes.
Look,
Absolutely.
I got an ackee tree. I've had this ackee tree since 2013
Mhm.
in a pot right up front. I mean, I've pruned it a few times, but it's no bigger than about 2 feet. I've had it growing in a pot from 2013 till
Mhm.
now. You understand what I'm telling you? A tree,
Yes. Yes.
and it got
Yes.
so big.
Yes.
And I always say, but the reason because I didn't, I'm gonna plant it now on the farm, which is like, finally it's
Yes.
gonna be free from its
Yes.
confinement. But I know that those roots are in there when they touch the ground, they just boom. But I
Yes.
say that to say
Expansion
that
valve. Mm.
they have kept the people of this nation confined in a pot, an idea, and a way of
Yes.
thinking for so
Yes.
long.
Yes.
So this election is so important for a number of reasons. It's not even about who's going to come, who ain't come, who ain't come. I think people are realizing at this juncture that something is not right. Something is not right. And I
We might
guarantee you,
go.
I've been saying it all along,
Mm.
regardless of the outcome of this election, come Thursday next week, Barbados is going to be a different place.
I agree with you. And
Regardless of the outcome, it will not be the same.
it cannot be the same.
Cannot
It
be
is
the
not.
same.
It is not
Either
possible.
folks going to be happy and look forward to a change, or going to be vexed and decide to make that
That
change. I'm
change.
telling you.
Absolutely correct. I agree with
So,
you. I want
so
to make I want to make a comment before you move off the credit union thing. I grew up in Canada. I'm Barbadian, by for everyone that doesn't know me. I'm Barbadian, but I grew up in Canada. Um, I have to make that clear because sometimes my accent may come out and people think, but I am a Barbadian. I was born in St. Thomas,
mm,
farmer St. Thomas to be exact, but I immigrated as a child to Canada and I grew up there. Anyway, long story short, in Canada, I had accounts at credit union. You have checking, you have savings, you can borrow loans. I know of loans as 20 million, something like that. Credit unions lend. How come we got over $1 billion? We can't borrow more than about $800,000 maximum,
okay. Oh, you know,
right?
wait. You know about capital.
Of course,
I see
you
you know
know,
what's going on. I see you
right?
know what's
How
going
come
on.
we are limited? We have all this money at our disposal that we've put together. It's our money. I'm a member of 3 credit unions in this country, and you cannot have a checking account. You can't have a business account. I believe they're trying a thing with that now, but how long has it taken to get there? Where is the encouragement for a black person, male or female, young or old, to put together a business and come and get some assistance? It's our money that we go and we give to some other people
That
who
money
capitalize
went
on that.
across. That money went across the street. As a
Went
matter of
across
fact,
the street.
the First Citizen Bank and call a name. That's where the money went. Anybody who bank in the credit union need to understand your money
Yes.
is not in the credit union.
No, it's
The
not.
credit union
No,
is
it's
the
not.
front man. He's just the
Correct.
front man.
Correct.
He takes your money at the front, runs through the
Yeah.
back door, and gives
Yeah.
it to the
The one
real
side.
man.
Yes.
And in this case, it is First Citizens, unless they change their contract, which I doubt.
Mm. Why
So,
don't we have a credit union bank? Why
well, no,
haven't the
let's go
credit
a
union?
step further. Well, let's go a step further. Now that you mentioned bank, recently Consolidate and St. McCall slash Trinidad
Yes.
have gone from being a financial lending organization into a bank. Now,
Yes.
how is it that
Commercial
Consol, who
bank.
just touched ground in Barbados, who hold on to so many assets, whether it is mortgage or car notes in Trinidad, by the way, could suddenly just roll over and become a bank? And the credit union
Yes.
that been there forever, ever can't seem to get it done. Help me, somebody. And another thing, out of curiosity, why the credit union does not have an entrepreneur program to empower young people who are these small businesses in the bank, in the credit union, to have them, to guide them and help them be successful. Why is it the credit union don't have an agriculture program to ensure food security for its members? All they do is take your money, promise you a small loan. Although the sister said it's like pulling teeth, I like that idea, which is interesting. I said check your inbox, and the reality, the fact is, like you said, we borrowing money from everybody else outside, and we sitting on this money right here. But you know what Alex would say? It's because the government of Barbados ain't got no good
No,
credit.
they don't. They don't. It's just above junk bond status, which
So
is
when you don't, well, Phil, let me ask you, because you live abroad, Phil. Let me ask you this question: when you don't have credit or good credit overseas, and you need to go and get money, who do you go and see really?
okay. You're opening a can of worms here, but this is
The
good.
loan,
In
the who,
Canada,
the loan
we have
shark, right?
5 tiers. Well, we have 5 tiers of lending. You have the commercial banks, you have the financial institutions, insurance companies, finance companies, so on and so on. But you come all the way down to Uncle Louis on the corner of the street, and Uncle Louis is running a newspaper stand, right? And
Simple
he's got
newspaper
a
stand.
cigar in his mouth, right? And if you can't borrow even from the lowest echelons of the financial industry, you go see Uncle Louis. Now the rates might be a little high, but you don't really ask a lot of questions because he knows where you live. And if
That's
you
right.
don't pay, he's going to come and visit you. That's just the bottom line. You understand? But at the end of the day, many of our people, I can tell you, I grew up in a city called Hamilton, Ontario, and there was
Mm.
a Jew man by the name of Harvey Katz Senior. He's now dead, and he had a business that made him millions of dollars. This is how he did it. Every month, because the black folks that immigrated from the Caribbean couldn't really borrow money in the bank at the time. They're good now, but in them days, Harvey got smart. He went to his Jewish buddies and he said, look, let us give these people some mortgages. So one day out of every month, if you came and you bought a house, you come to Harvey, they would approve your mortgage. This is private now. They had like some sort of collective that they put together, cooperative or something. And they would lend you. I used to watch at 12 years old the lineup around the block with people closing in Harvey's office that day. I'm sorry, not Harvey, Henry. Henry was his name. Harvey's the son. He now runs the business because the father's dead. But Henry Katz, even my parents originally, when they got
Wow. Wow.
so you see the evolution. Eventually, we built equity because black people work hard and they save money and they're smart, so they invest. And a lot of people in Canadian society now that came from the Caribbean live in the top 15% of Canadian society. Why? Because they were able to utilize not the banks. The banks were not their friends. The banks here are Canadian banks, so they're not our friends. They don't do anything
Right.
for you here,
Right.
right? But you can go. What we don't have here are the lower tiers of lending that you would get overseas. There is lots of money in Barbados, and there's lots of money in the Caribbean,
Yep.
but it's never seen, at least not in certain circles, right? So as a result, what I'm saying, when you have the credit union, which I'm very familiar with because I've done a lot of work with them over the years, and I have I have a true story. I have a story to tell you. This I wasn't going to talk about it. Actually, I didn't even. I am involved with a business in Canada, which is a credit card company that is licensed by Mastercard, and I felt very proud of myself as a black person being able to even have a consideration by such a giant that they would give us, grant us a license. I brought that opportunity here about 7 years ago, and I sat with one of the credit union managers, CEOs, and
Mm-hmm.
he was very interested in the program. This is before they went and did this program that they have now. Everything went fine for about the first 6 months. We were going along, and then all of a sudden, no more communication.
Mm-hmm.
I heard from my people in Toronto, oh, Philip, did you know that your people down there have applied to us directly for a license? But my people in Toronto already knew that I was working with these folks. I show you how silly we can be. We don't live in a fishbowl. So eventually, the license was issued, but not through me. It was issued to them directly. They end up paying $1 million+ more than they would have had if they gone through me, because I have an agreement with the persons in Toronto. I don't want to go into the details. The point is that we often are our own worst enemies. Now, a gentleman walked me out of the bank, wasn't the manager, out of the credit union, and he walked me to the parking lot after the one of the meetings, and he put his hands on my shoulder and he said to me, Philip, boy, you're the wrong color. This is what the man said. There's another black man that looked at me and said to me, you are the wrong color. If you were Caucasian, you didn't say Caucasian, say white,
Right.
or some other persuasion, this deal would have been done. So you see, what we do is we prejudice ourselves, right? I'm the wrong color in his eyes. I live in Canada for 42 years. I can walk into a bank in Canada and borrow $1 million in less than 72 hours. I'll have my money. I've done it more than once. You see, I have business there. I have property there. Here, I have property. It takes me, I have 5 real estate transactions that has taken more than 10 months to close, where I'm the seller, not the buyer. And these people takes months to approve a simple mortgage loan for people. Yet you can go to some other car company, I almost said it, but you can go to a car company, you can buy a car in Barbados and have that car within a week, within days, and drive off the lot
You know why? Depreciation value.
Yes, they don't encourage us to invest our money in things that will build and
But
appreciate.
but but this is why the two-tier governmental system has been so effective. It has kept the people like a begging society. You said you work, but you only work for enough to pay off a few bills, maybe put a little side on one side, but you got to go right back. Nobody
Yes,
is showing you how to build and develop and save wealth.
correct.
And you know why? Because they have to be a permanent on the class. This is how the others ride. They ride on the backs of those
Exactly.
at the bottom. Speaking of guests, and tonight we have none other, without further ado, our very own resident scribe slash motivation slash um, philanthropist, because she's helped countless people, as far as I am aware of, activist, historian. I don't know. I mean, again, she simply is. What y'all are welcome, none other than the one and only ISIS 360 in the flesh. Tonight, her official first
Welcome, my dear
appearance on
sister.
Politically Incorrect. I ain't gonna tell you. See, you keep calling. Look what happens. You know you're here now. I ain't want to call in. You're here. Me, how you gonna say no, man? Go ahead and greet the people, man. Go ahead.
First of all, divine greetings. You guys can hear me?
Yes, well, I
Excellent.
can hear you. Hey,
Okay.
listen, mic check,
If
mic check, mic check. If y'all can hear ISIS, be sure to make sure you give me some feed for it, man. Mic check. If you can hear loud and clear, let it be known. Let it be known. Let it be known. All right, everybody put in nothing but Florida. Yeah, look, man, it's live in action. Talk to me, man. Go ahead and talk to me.
First of all, divine greetings to the lovely politically incorrect family, to you
That's right.
fams,
Mhm.
the entire family, divine light, love, and blessings. Happy New Year, happy, healthy, and hearty New Year 2022. We know when the New Year starts and stuff like that. But the truth is, we celebrate our birthdays. We still want people to wish you happy birthday days, 365 days. So you can keep it real. Right.
360, full circle.
So
My
great to
sister,
see you.
you too, my sister. Yes.
Now,
It's about
I
time
must
that we
say
came on.
though that I am very disappointing, to be quite honest.
Hmm.
I see that candidate, the third party candidate, are squandering opportunities. Yes, you don't have much time. Yes, the so-called snap election was upon us. But let me start to understand what is happening. Welcome. Hi, Sonia. Divine light, love, and blessings to the family. You don't know all the time. No, we have to get serious. I see a discussion on the credit union. I told my best friend, who will be probably on this live somewhere, about this a few years ago,
Hmm.
that the credit unions, they decide what is a loan, what is a personal loan, a car loan. I felt it very I can't know your business why you want to be in my business. And this is where we needed an alliance, where we
Hmm.
needed black women, brown women, and red women, because we are different shades, to start an alliance where we have to put in just $1,000. Because if we do that and we go and we get a loan, if they don't want to give us a loan, they have to give us our money. We can go and call for every cent. They either give you it in cash, or if not, they have to give you it in a check. But you have a right to call for your money. This is why no one argues with you when you say, listen to me, I want to close this account, give me every cent. You can got $15,000, they have to give you it in a check. They can't listen, they can't bring in the police and say, oh, they can try to say, well, why do you want this money? Or try to get you to stay with them. But I am leaving, and that is where you have your power. For far too long in this country called Barbados, we have sat back and we have allowed policies after policies to take place, and we don't say anything. Things we're supposed
True.
to march for, we don't march for. That is the way I feel about it. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disgusted because even the election process. Why should you have 4 people to vouch for you? First of all, I said we should have 4 years. 5 years is too long. Set an election date. I have
Mhm.
this up on YouTube. This was pre when I was in the general election of 2018. And I put out my little audio because I didn't get to do anything at all. And I said we should shave off a year. So it's 4 years and we can put it around February, March. Reason being, hurricane season starts in May and you don't want candidates out there getting wet, people out there bottling Jew, all types of things. If we are serious about our business and doing the people's business. The other thing is registration of political parties. If you're serious about business, I have 360 publications registered. I have 360 publishers registered since 2009. Whether they're up and running, I registered my 2 business names because I don't want anybody to run off with 360 from
Your name, you
2009.
you don't want to lose your names.
Exactly, because I am building a brand. Why can't we register political parties, political organizations in Barbados for a fee at the Electoral and Boundaries Commission? You get documents from, you can use the same template that you're using for business names, which I still have my paperwork from 2009 in good condition. So why can't we register political parties now? If you add a logo, and because the problem is everybody, if you have 60 candidates from the B's and the D's, don't let me talk about third parties. That is $250. That is 60 candidates. That is only $15,000. That cannot do anything for the Electoral and Boundaries Commission in terms of what is spent on an election. They have to pay the election workers for that particular day. Why is the Electoral and Boundaries Commission sitting down on a gold mine? I call it a gold mine. All different reports. 1981. Why can't you do a special and say 5 of these reports here for $50? Because Frondo Stewart said something a few years ago that made me laugh. He said everybody is nursing the government and the government nipples are sore. And then as Elijah said, he gifted them from the Inland Revenue to bra. He put on a bra to stop them from the government, right? But you have the ABC, you have people making decisions. And even when I went through the process in 2018, $250. Now, your receipt is proof of purchase. You have to take the original receipt into where you are being nominated, providing you are successful. The original receipt. You are telling me at $250, we cannot give 2 copies of receipt, even if you put on copy on one so you can have proof of purchase. My proof of purchase is a photocopy. Like, who made these decisions? There's no vision for this nation from top to bottom.
But ISIS,
That is
I,
the problem.
when people say that, right, I always ask them this question because,
Mhm.
like, people talk about the government, like they say that BLP ain't doing what it's supposed to. I always try to remind people. That's why sometimes I wonder. The
Mhm.
truth and the fact is, the government was never put in place to do anything for you. You are considered the
Exactly.
stock of the land. The reason why that money was 250 because when they first imposed it at the time, how many decades ago,
Couldn't afford it.
Barbados man can get up to it. He won't put the 250 to run it. He won't risk losing that. 250 today may not have the same value it did back in 60 something or 70 something. I doubt very much it has changed. I don't know for sure, but
To keep us out, to keep us out.
look, a lot of what was done, like you said, is to keep people discouraged and from being a part of something. But a two-tier system that seemed like a choice is really not a choice. It's
Exactly.
just a left foot.
Exactly.
It just who sang the song "Government Boots"? That was Gabby,
That was
Yeah,
Gabby.
right? It just see the left boot or the right boot are the same devil. So whether you get kicked with the left boot or get kicked with the right boot, the reality is it is the
You're
same
still getting
devil
kicked.
that kicking you. So
uh-huh.
the focus was to get rid of the devil that kicking you and stop trying to switch between southpaw and regular because the reality is you're still getting kicked.
Yes.
Left, right, left, right. The government moves. So it don't
The
matter.
government kicked.
What
The
we have
government
introduced,
kicked.
Being the last election you were supposed to run, and I remember that you had a lot of ideas. Remember you came forward with a lot of passion and a lot of fire. Matter of fact, pure fire against the administrators in the beginning. And I've watched you grow. I've watched you mature, and I've watched you kind of balance yourself more over the years. And it's important for candidates, and I say this too to all, including brothers like Alex Mitchell, especially Alex Mitchell. You know, our passion
Worry,
sometimes.
Alex Mitchell. Power.
Yeah,
You
for
don't
sure.
know.
Our passion, however, sometimes is as much as it is necessary and very necessary. You're dealing with the people who have been sleeping for a very long time and have never heard truth. You have to be very cautious and mindful how you introduce that truth to people so that it is palatable, because you don't want to choke them, you don't want to gag them, because imagine you in the credit union. I mean, like, you really, really feel that you're a part of this thing, black people come together, blah, 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 to only find out that the truth and the fact that the credit union is a front man for the white man. Like, wait a minute, what I mean? Well, it means that, that they was put there to make sure that they control the money that you have so that you don't go and put it together and do your thing. You bring it to me, I get back to my son, he do whatever he want with it, and I would just, pinch you off, pinch you off, pinch you off. So candidates in Barbados got to do one of two things in order to pull this whole thing off. You don't have to only just sell the idea to the people and promise the way you want to do, but you got to help them realize that in order to build wealth for this nation, so that it don't be just a selected group that getting the benefits called their party in play. We don't want that. We want it where Barbados as one nation can strive and grow. It's not about B or D or choose a side. It's about let us do what is best for the interest of the whole Barbados and the credit unions across Barbados, the churches across Barbados, and all these different organizations that say about the people. If they just pool their resources and back initiatives, we don't need no loan from no IMF. We don't need no loan from no World Bank. We don't need no houses from China. And if the one I saw is really an example of what they're building with the
Oh my
chipboard,
goodness! I showed my dad that. That was, oh my God. He was like, "What's that? That's somebody chanting in the yard." I said, "No, Dad. This look like one of these." You know,
I
he
don't know
could
if
not
that is
believe
wrong
it.
because I don't know if it's wrong because social media. I don't know
That's
if
what
that
I'm
is
saying.
actually one of the Chinese homes in progress, because had they captured it when it was finished with the draw plastic and the tape and the seams, so you couldn't see nothing, you wouldn't even know you wouldn't even know if it was a galvanized house or not. That's all I'm telling you. So I don't know if that is one, but if it is one, um, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm
Of
sorry.
course.
ISIS, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
What I
And
want to talk about.
they said no Beijing company was capable of building a house in 6 weeks. I disagree. I disagree. We have talented people in Barbados. We are, with this kind of dialogue, this kind of mindset, we will never dig out of the hole because
But Phil, that's not a house. That's not a house.
there
I
you
mean, you want
go.
to be truthful. I mean, it's a shed.
A shack, a
It's
shack.
a
That's
it's
what
a
we call
yeah.
a
It's just
shack.
a with compressed board side
Board.
in. I mean,
Yes,
I'd rather you even use concrete board if you're gonna use it, but
yes,
compressed wood side in,
yeah. The
nah,
water will penetrate that eventually. It'll just rot down.
nah.
The wood. We'll have a field day with
Barbados
it.
infested with ants. I'm assuming that it is treated. I'm going to assume that.
Let us assume. We can
But
assume a
but
lot.
listen, if it is coming from China, like I said before, they give us fake garlic, fake tuna.
Fake
They put
eggs,
that in the kids
fake rice.
for the children. So I mean, come on. And they're gonna give you real medicine.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
talk about something very important that was lost, was the vaccine scandal, right?
Listen, do not bring no vaccine scandal up in here tonight because it can be a problem. I'm telling you. Don't bring the vaccine scandal unless, of course, you looking to start a riot because I know you know. All right, let me
Listen,
hear this
in
vaccine scandal.
order
Let me hear this
in
scandal,
order
man.
for okay, and even if you want, fam, you can go. I would tell you where to go. No, it's a fact, right? When we was
Mm,
talking with the vaccines, they had town hall meetings. Well,
mhm,
skits as you like to call them. There were four.
mhm,
There
mhm,
were four. They had the third one. at Dayton Griffith. Now I went there, that was my alma mater. I didn't go to that one. As you say, you saw me at Commonwealth, which was the fourth one.
Mm.
Now, in September, we saw the article where Bostic said he knew nothing about it. He outright said, Phil, you remember this?
Yes,
No,
I
this
do.
is a fact.
Of course,
And they
how
actually
can you forget
even
that?
did exactly. And they even had a meme with Santia coming out and saying what she said, which I find is interesting. Now, this is going to go to the reason we are in this mess too, not only because of the politicians, but because of corrupt media. People don't get that. So, the third town hall meeting, a question was asked. And when they was asking these questions from the moderator, who was Brian Reese, Mr. Brian Reese, they will post it on the screen, the question that's being asked. And the question was, how much money came out of the vaccine fund for vaccines? That's a very straightforward question. That's not for you to speculate. You either know or you don't know.
Correct.
Now, what was very interesting, now this would have been August the 16th. So because of the town hall meetings, we have a date on it. We had the flyers out there. We know when these town hall meetings, and these town hall meetings are still on YouTube and Facebook for everyone to view.
Right.
For now.
So, boss, for now.
They might take them after tonight. I listen.
Listen, boss sat in his chair because he wasn't on the panel. He sat in his chair. And Brian Reed said, Minister Bostic, you here to answer this. Bostic sat there. And then the question had to be repeated. Bostic went to the podium. Number one, he was very angry. That was number one. And Bostic said, up until 2 weeks ago, $10 million came out of the vaccine fund. Now you tell me, how do you 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, early September, to say you don't know about the vaccine scandal? $10 million. Wait a minute. But I found it interesting because I was in the kitchen cooking the dog food and the phone charging. So I said the night time now, late in the night, because remember, politically incorrect had to be on. So when that goes through, I will have to watch to see what is going on. So I looked at the video and I saw something very interesting that actually was cause for concern.
Yes.
I saw Bostic seated and some person, while he was there, lost like a chicken without a head. Some person left their seat and went to Bostic and gifted him the answer.
Yes, correct.
The person that gifted him the answer, because you could assume, who's that person? It looked like Emmanuel, but it might not be Emmanuel, right?
It might have been me.
But, right? But, because who was sitting in the audience was announced by the moderator, Brian Reese, who was on the panel and who is seated in the audience. And it was none other than Dr. Elizabeth Ferdinand. So how does the coordinator for the vaccine, obviously she's supposed to know, but your minister and health and wellness does not. That speaks volumes.
You see, this is why I tell this, and I'm glad you said that. You think they really don't know? You really, really, honestly, between me and you think they really don't know what it is that they can't tell you what it is? Because if you knew the truth, listen, if tomorrow, right, first in the morning, good morning, Barbados, they were to make an announcement about the reality of the financial situation in Barbados. And the sister Melissa made a very good point. It wasn't COVID that exposed Barbados, no. What COVID did was expose what was going on in Barbados. Yes. Because if things was the way it's supposed to be and all our ducks was in a row, we would have hit the ground running. You have some countries where the government pay for people housing, pay for the light bill, pay for the rent, all kind of stuff. Barbados got one food hamper with some old corned beef, macaroni, and some old fruits. And the reality fact is, I'm sure somebody, some distribution in Barbados got a check for that.
Mm-hmm.
I am sure.
Had someone at that.
A handsome one at that. I am sure. So don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I can't even. I mean, I did spend some nights with some initiatives, bagging up some of this stuff as well, and sipping through boxes, trying to find the best of the worst, and there to give people. And I suppose I could kind of understand to a degree why you know that they say it was better than nothing. My point is realizing how much was put into all of this. We could have
Mm-hmm.
done so much more, ISIS, and you correct. Don't get me wrong, but realize that these individuals do not work for the people of Barbados. We got to stop thinking that these cats and these hats really checking for the people. You never see no white people there protesting, marching for no contracts. You don't see the Indians in the street taking up placards trying to debate Islamic faith in Barbados and the mosque. You don't see no other culture out there talking about we want, we want. You don't see that. They don't do it like that. They make phone calls, mate. I want to have a conversation and money's put on the table and things are discussed. Our problem isn't the lack of will. Our problem is the lack of love amongst ourselves. Because once we organize amongst ourselves as a force to reckon with, there's nothing we can achieve by tomorrow morning, Barbados. I guarantee you. You think if they knew by tomorrow morning they would have, or but elections were Wednesday, you think if they knew by Wednesday morning, you got a movement in Barbados, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people that saying, look, y'all gotta go. We ain't even voting. We can disrupt every part, every way you call it, the election booth. Y'all just got to go. What are you gonna do?
Right,
Call them.
because
What are they gonna do? Hold on,
right
check this
now,
out. Hold on. Check this out. What they gonna do? Call England for help? We a republic now. We ain't got the England help. What they do? Call
Can't do
America
that.
for help? We a republic now. Nobody ain't got no right to help you. Who gonna come to help you? China.
China, you got that. China those.
But guess what? Guess what? China ain't want every Barbados though. Really and truly. Because I guarantee you, as much as we saying this, right, Barbados is the center of the world, and we do have friends. And I ain't talking about the
Africa
ones that
upside
I ain't
down.
talking about the ones these people have assigned and aligned themselves with
Yes.
in their secret, whatever they call it. I don't have a clue. I can care less. But the rightful indigenous people of this land have allies, and it's time we stop sitting back on this trying to negotiate with the devil. The first
Yes.
rule in dealing with the devil is don't. I said they ain't
Don't.
got nothing for us. The only thing they could do is step the hell out the way. That's all they could do. There ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing else they could do. Boss, it can't tell you the truth. Mia can't tell you the truth. None of them can tell you the truth because the truth is it's not in them to do so.
Correct.
We, the people,
Exactly.
got to stop playing this game and step up and take, not the words I'm saying, take what is rightfully yours. That's my
Correct.
position. And until we ready to have that
Sovereignty.
conversation, miss me, man.
Sovereignty.
It's true.
Emmanuel.
Like Phil said, it's a sovereignty thing.
Yes.
Let me go one step further. Let me just go one step further, and I'll yield the floor. Let me ask you a question. How you gonna vote for government when there's no contract right now between you and that government? What is the agreement that they will govern you? You have a contract with the government. We don't even have a constitution.
No.
What is the contract? See, when you vote for government, you are saying, I am going to acquiesce, I'm going to agree that you're going to do this and do that, and I submit to that. You got a contract. Right now, the government can't tell you nothing. Barbados don't even have a government right now.
Precisely. I was just
Barbados
going to
right
say
now does not have a government.
no.
No government. And if there's
No
no
government, no
contract and no
constitution,
government
no rules
and
of
no
operation.
constitution, what's the rule of law? How come police cars still driving about? What rule of law they working under? Like, excuse me, under what? Under whose
Exactly. And
authority?
why are people being arrested, especially for COVID-19? For this scam
Listen,
and this scam. You
Listen,
see?
let me tell you something, right? On a serious note, I watched a video at night with some men on the block. They see some men pull up and there was a little dialogue. I noticed that nobody in run though. I noticed that. I noticed that.
Mm.
All that look, man, look. Men like they just
Emmanuel,
can't see the truth here. They just can't see.
I wanna say something. Yeah. For 6 years, I've been caucusing with some people. I won't say, including the same Alex Mitchell, one of my good friends. We've been meeting regularly for 6 years, even before the last election, and we have been trying to find the right approach to come to the people of Barbados. Most of us are lived overseas. We may be Bajan in terms of our birth and that. We've had more years abroad than we've had here. But I find this to be very interesting that often people want your help, but they don't want your ideas. In other words, if you can come with some money and pacify a situation, they don't mind going along with it. I've had more blowback, I think. I've been told go back where I came from. I've been told those words from average, ordinary people and not outsiders, even family members, so called. And I get offended by that sort of rhetoric because I tell them I'm a little too big now and a little too old to go back where I came from. You know, my mother couldn't possibly re-accept me at this point. In any event, she's dead, so that wouldn't be practical. So that's how I get around that problem. The idea is that we're all Barbadians. I'm a Barbadian citizen. I'm here. I have business in this country. I pay taxes, a lot of it, and I have a right to be heard. So when you are going to take the country to the next stage, which is republicanism, I feel that I have a right and a voice. My dollars speak for themselves. I was not consulted, but I can show you my tax payments, and it's a lot because of what I do. Secondly, sir, a president was elected. I didn't have a say once again. Matter of fact, if you look at that piece of paper, Caswell was the only one that had the guts to stand up and be frank. The only box on that there was a yes answer. And if you tick, there was no, there was no dissension. You tick that box, you were consenting to the election of this president. Now, I want to just go one little step further, and then I'll yield again. We have no constitution. As you said, on the 29th of November, the constitution ceased to exist because we didn't transition it into the republic. You hear all kinds of nonsense about it still standing. Yes, maybe because we say so. So what are we? We're a colonial independent republic.
That's right.
Because that's the only way
A colonial independent parliamentarian republic. Get it right.
Yes, let's get that right. That was the question. The last statement I was going to. What type of republic are we? Because you know they're different.
Parliamentarian.
Right. So does that mean then that as of December 1st, we the people no longer have a say in the governance of this country? Why is it that a snap election was called between December 27th or whatever it was and January 19th? How does that work when you don't have a constitution, when you have no rules of engagement, when you do not even know how the republic works? I mean, what are we voting for? Who are we voting for? Who made the rules for this election? Huh? Who? What? This is madness. This is absolute.
ISIS, who you take back the rules? China?
You got that right. This is why I keep saying it is not a republic, it's a rogue public. Because this is why rogue
public.
You know, you more have a regime, you know. We keep saying government, but to do this, because in a democracy you have a say whether you agree or disagree. But we got no say. I mean, how do you say women are the driving force? We're talking about women in high positions. Of course, we want to see it. We welcome it. But at the same time, how does the majority of women in a country don't vote for the first female president, as we had a right to vote for or against the first female prime minister?
Yeah.
Or prime minister. I know.
So what he said, don't you think the nominees for the president should be on the ballot? On the ballot.
And the interesting thing is the term, Emmanuel. Look at the term. It is set up so that the president will always be able to oversee the ruling party and therefore give favor to the ruling party over anybody else. Now, we have a bunch of third parties. So they say we're not third parties. We have a bunch of new parties.
That's right.
Third parties. I want to say something about this. I run a party along with my board, consists of 6 people, called Barbados Sovereignty Party. And the reason why goes back to my heritage, goes back to my religious beliefs. I don't want to force that on anyone. I ask no one to subscribe to my belief structure. I ask you, though, to think of one thing. You are a citizen of this country. You're sovereign. You're a child of God. You're sovereign.
Mm.
I read Job, I think it was 18:1 to 24 today. I picked up my Torah. Look, it's right here in front of me. Right? I was sitting here. I had to read the first thing this morning, and that was the word I was given, right? God told me, he says, as long as you do not remove your hand from mine, I will keep you safe. I will keep my face to shine upon you. You worship no other gods but me. It is very simple. This was admonishment he was given to Job, because the Son of Man was coming to see Job to pay him a little visit, you know, and he was going to make a mess of Job's life. Job's wife turned and said, curse God and die. I want to say this. If we do not take this opportunity on the 19th day of January 2022 to throw out the BBLP, the BDLP, and the BAPP. We have 3 BLP governments in this country now. Look carefully, folks. Do not think that I'm a crackpot, what I'm saying. Think carefully about what is going on. Look at the alignments. I am not a mad person, at least most of the time, and if I was, not such a bad deal. Because you know. Anyway, the BLP, I call them the BBLP. We have the BDLP run by the person aligned with the BBLP. We all know. I don't have to go into nobody's. Then we have this new alliance here, call themselves APP, both BLPs. In 3.5 years, I haven't heard a word from any of them about anything going on in this country.
True. Facts.
I want to jump to the next street now. We got this thing called Pan-Africanist in this country. I haven't heard a Pan-Africanist stand up and say, what the heck's going on here? It's time for
You mean the yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you know, that guy. You mean that guy?
The family.
Right.
You mean that guy? Right.
Those people. Right. So hold on. When the DLP was in power and they wanted to bring in the fingerprinting and the eye technology to enter the airport and this and that, people went screaming to the Supreme Court, shot it down. Yeah. When were they going to develop Carlisle's Bay there? People went to the court and asked the court to, you know, not allow this development. All of a sudden, all the things that we were fighting against are in place. When you drive through Waterford Bottom, you see this big steel thing there with all the scanners on it. And I mean X-ray machine. You can see right in your damn car. You go across Bagatelle, you see them over there setting up now and somewhere down on the coast there. I say, what is happening? Are we asleep? Are we asleep? Are we truly asleep? We have the BBLP, who is the big boss. We have the BDLP, which is the puppets, because they listen, don't get me. And then now we have this little minion that come along, and because a few dollars for election feels good in somebody's, you know, we have now the BAPP. I say to the people of Barbados, at the risk of putting myself as an enemy of the state, I don't really care. I say to the people of Barbados, on the 19th day of January, vote no to all of the above. It is time that we start to take control of our own destiny. It is time for us to have a voice in our government, and we decide who the government is going to be, not some elected member, but we will form a government after to say, this is our position and this is how we want to be treated, and we are sovereign. So your rules do not apply. I am not in the system anymore. I do not belong to the corporation.
That's right. Don't belong to Rome.
Okay?
Belong to Rome.
I'm only saying
1661.
either you have eyes
you
and
can go
you
back to
see,
this thing. That's right. Let them
you
see.
have ears and you hear, you
Let
know,
them
let
hear.
me say this.
I have two questions here. One is actually posted there. Why do we still call a prime servant prime minister if parliament was dissolved?
This is the confusion that exists. We do not have a prime minister. We do not have, well, that's not true. That's not true. Because when it's dissolved, the president, the prime minister, the attorney general, and I believe Homeland Security.
Homeland Security also.
Yeah, those are
supposed
the only
to keep track of things.
Correct. So, but the point
but
is,
speaking of Homeland Security, and I don't normally do this, I mean, personally speaking, I don't normally do this, but I came across a video with the Minister for Homeland Security in Silver Sands trying his best to blow what is called the conch shell.
mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting because I thought it was interesting. I don't even normally get into nothing like this at all. But all I want to say is this. Hold on a second. I want to play this real quick. I don't. Let me see if I can share this here real quick. I see what's going on. Let me see if I can put this up real quick here. Let me see what happened. Because I mean, everybody taking shots, right? I just want to ask a question. This one question. Because like the brother said, we at a crossroad. We in a very serious place as a people. Serious place. And I think he might be listening here. All right, Winfred, you got that one. You got that one. You win that one, man. It's funny how I would say that and this would happen, but that's all right. I understand, man. I understand, man. I ain't gonna put you out there like that. But it will get around accordingly. But my position is this, though. If this is any indication of what we have to look forward to, it's a poor start. It's a poor start. And I think the people of Barbados at this point in time, like the sister kept saying, the science is high, the science is high. I think, like the scripture said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. It's because we reject the knowledge, not that the knowledge is not available. We have rejected knowledge. We have traded our birthrights for that little bowl of, what do you call it? Was it a bowl of peas? A bowl of soup. A bowl of porridge. We have sold our birthrights for a bowl of porridge. So rather than, seek your inheritance, we have decided to just simply hold our hands out and accept what was brought and whatever is given. And the truth is, family, we gotta stop that. I think our children and our children's children's future depends on what we do right here, right now. And if we don't recognize the importance of what's happening, because don't get me wrong, there's certain things that have to play out. It's only when the ones who holding on and don't want to lose a little pick, the ones who tell themselves, well, I rolling with this thing cause, I don't want to. If you realize, right, that when they start to lose ground as well as everybody else and realize they find themselves like everybody else, like now they're saying the vaccine, speaking of vaccine, now they're saying the vaccine. The man in charge of Pfizer, he said, well, actually, the vaccine really don't offer the protection. So the new one we bring out right now, the new one gonna be like it's gonna be like an all-in-one. So rather than worrying about the variants and then got to switch up, we're gonna bring a vaccine. Now listen to this carefully. We're gonna bring a vaccine that covers all variants. But wait a minute. But how you know the next variant? How you know the next variant? In order to make a vaccine to cover that, the next one and the next one and the next one, But how would you know to make a vaccine to cover all? And I would think that if that was if you had that ability, well, why you don't do that from the beginning?
Exactly.
Today the games they play. So what I'm saying is that when people come to realize that they've been hoodwinked and bamboozled, you ain't gonna tell the president or the prime minister, whoever, to flee. They're gonna be on the first flight. Well, I know they're gonna be the first flight, because I ain't got the plane, but who got
The
plane
prime
to
minister
fly
is
out?
always like, when stuff ready to hit, the prime minister
Okay,
get on the plane fast and then drop it
not
in
a
Tantia's
problem.
lap. She's a good
Not a
runner.
problem. Not
So
a
you can't
problem.
feel safe with a runner though.
Listen, if she fly out, she knows she can't fly back in. That's all.
Exactly.
That's
So
all. Because
but
Barbadians
uh,
ain't foolish.
it's just a sad
Emmanuel,
situation, to be quite honest. It's just very heartbreaking because sometimes you try, you put in the work, and you just wonder, like, this spell is just like they're
You
under
can't
this
make this
spell.
stuff up.
You can't make it up. It is like they're
You can't
under
make
this
it up.
spell. And what have me, because in my hand here, right, I have, if you can see this, right? I don't know if you can see this.
Hold on,
This
hold on. We gonna
says,
hook you up. We hook you up, man.
caption is blocking it.
We gonna hook you up,
Okay.
man.
Health financing in Barbados.
see if you can see October. Let me bring it across.
Other
Wait
way.
a minute. Wait. Now this here, you guys can see it?
Yep. The other
Right.
way. Other way.
We gonna get you a desk lamp next time you come in life. You laughing? That's a Batman. You going your pajamas, man?
No.
Come on here, you
But
Batman pajamas,
anyway, this
ISIS.
here, this here, right back to me. Now, this is called Health Financing in Barbados. And this is dated October 2019. Planning and Research Unit. Remember, in here, this is this has something called why health financing reform. Because we seem not to know what is happening with this pandemic. Everybody's thinking that this is why we call it a pandemic, a scamdemic, or a condemic. Because
Yep.
people are being conned out of their freedom.
Yep.
And on the top of the list, right, which is very interesting, is increased percentage of elderly persons. When you think of health financing reform, anything to do with reform
Mm.
means a government is always looking to cut the cost. And if on the top is increased percentage of elderly persons, how do you save money? First of all, there's pension. So you get to kill two. COVID-19 actually killed two birds with one stone for the government.
What's
Because
the
remember,
word
they
they
get
call them? They call them what? Useless eaters.
useless
Yes.
eaters.
Remember the term?
Hmm. Non-contributors.
Non-contributors. They
Exactly.
take up resources and they contribute absolutely nothing.
Right. But
Yes.
I mean, how can you say that about the elderly? Because they have built this nation, they have maintained this nation. I
You
do
see now
have
again? You see now? There you
commission
go again.
services, commission services, letters of appointment where these parties receive $130 per week. No, 20, that was in 1980, the year of my birth. No, 20 years later, when they were supposed to get NIS pension, they were only given $155 per week. And thanks to Mia, after the last decade, we get a little increase there. But yet, still, politicians getting close to $20,000 per month, even in the Senate. The president gets a salary plus what you
Expense.
call duty allowance.
Hmm.
Well, the other senators just get duty allowance. So if you want to cut something, that's where you cut. You have the president get over 200. If you check the emoluments dealing with this administration, well, it was the governor general. It would fall on the governor general before the president because this just came about. $231,000 fixed salary. That does not include the butler, the maid. They don't even contribute 5%. The ministers choose their own personal assistant. Is a personal assistant of their choice. Why can't they put 5% of their 20,000 salary towards that? That's
Again,
where
the
the cops
farmer,
need to be.
no, the farmer's concern about his pig farm is how things gonna look come Christmas.
Yes.
You understand? The farmer's concern is one thing and one thing only: how the pigs gonna work out for slaughter come Christmas. We
Yeah.
gotta stop the idea that the people who talk and tell us these things have our interests. And I gonna say it again, ISIS, you are 100% correct. The problem is misplaced. They don't care nothing about the people. The government of any country is interested in one thing and one thing only, and that's managing the word. Just look at the word govern and men.
Man.
The word govern means to control. Meant,
Mind
the
control.
word meant
Mind.
means mind.
Mhm.
The only thing the word government truly means by definition based on etymology is mind control. Control the minds of the people. So I'll tell you what I
Exactly.
think you need to hear to keep you working on the farm. Because it's a farm. You call it a plantation, it's really a farm. You got to produce, you got to do something. Because if you ain't producing, you're a useless eater, which means you gain Dodds, you gain
Yeah.
Black Rock, because we got to find a way to make money off of you. You can't just sit home. And if you're sitting home doing nothing, well, you better be home without the man in the house. You got to create little issues, because we really don't want the family unit building, getting ideas, and y'all getting love and black power and that kind of stuff. You got to keep y'all at each other's throat. So keep the man at the rum shop, keep it high off or whatever the most modern, exotic, and mind enhanced thing is. Keep him on that level so that
Mhm.
keep y'all divided back and forth, a little bit, little issues squabbling. Give you opportunities, give him very little so he doesn't provide for his family, so that you and him can be back and forth again. Create anything to create division and keep y'all at that level. So when I
Yes.
come to and say, sweet girl, you're working, I'm gonna get a little job for you. And although you got seven O levels and CXCs or whatever they call it and all this stuff, but you could join the crew cutting grass for now, and it's something, and they could get you something a little better down the road. You're only working, what is it, 2 weeks a month or whatever it is, every other week, whatever. The point I want to make is that it is all socially engineered. It is not by chance and not by accident.
Accident.
It is deliberate. And
Mhm.
until we realize that the people that we think have our interest, the only people who have your interest right now in this election is independent candidates. And I don't mean all of them either. I don't mean
Absolutely.
all. I mean I don't even mean, well, if I gotta call a name, I gotta call it coalition.
Yes.
And I mean that in a broad way. Because the
Yes.
reality is everybody else has an agenda that's aligned with the plantocracy here. And you
Correct.
can tell, like the brother just said, where all these people come from all of a sudden, you want to see these cats. ISIS, you out here all the time working. You've been out here working, ISIS. Phil out here working. Lamumba, big up to Lamumba, by the way, Bonga Lights. Out here working non-stop, day in, day
Non-stop.
out, non-stop. I ain't never took a break, non-stop. We out here, so we know who out here, but we got a lot of new faces on the block, which I don't mind. It's all good because the scriptures talk about those come at the last minute. That ain't a problem. Because everybody have a role to play. But what we must be mindful of is that there's more in the mortar.
Than the pestle.
Okay. So let me not look at this on this face value. Because ISIS, what you're saying is 100% correct. But that's the distraction. Because, for example, they said that they spent $40 million to, what they say, upgrade the accident. I know the word they use was upgrade. Let me not say that.
Mhm.
To build it, not the accident
Accident
and
emergency.
emergency extension. Because when I went to the hospital the other day, I realized, well, this is the same thing. The only difference is that they extend the car park, took the ambulance bay, pushed out a little further, choked that little space and build a building and put a prison gate.
Hmm.
Now, as far as why it cost that amount of money, maybe they bought new equipment. I don't know. Maybe they dug a tunnel on the ground to Olara Court. I don't know. But my point is that it wasn't by chance. It wasn't by chance. And it's no accident. They know what they're doing. And they're going to always play these games and gimmicks. And we're going to always seemingly fall for them until we come to the realization that they do not, oh, Michael Jackson said, they don't give a damn about
About
us.
us.
We got to
All I
Yeah.
want to
organize
say is that
ourselves.
they don't really care about us.
They don't. So the independent individuals right now that are coming out and speaking from their heart and their passion and sharing their ideas, I mean, the brother talked earlier about he went to see a young man who told about his situation, and the neighbors came and took his post and pinned it up on their house, let the world know I rolling with this man. That is what's going to bring change in this nation, not the election. As a matter of fact, I even go as far as saying the election is a secret census to let them know who's still brainwashed. That's all that is. Because you
Exactly.
got to be a left thinking person to vote for either or of them. But a right thinking person gonna be a little different. And I mean that in every hemisphere I could talk about. Talk about the science, high, right, Phil? And
Yes.
dropping it in between.
Absolutely.
Because
Mhm,
you would have to be a left thinking person. Only
mhm.
a right thinking person will understand what the left thinking people don't quite get. And that's neither here nor there. That's just what it is as a fact. So we
Mhm.
as individuals who know what's going on, who see what's going on, and know how this thing works, has a responsibility, like you said, Phil. Go out there, meet the people, talk. They only give you a short time because they don't want you to cover a lot of ground. But guess
Right.
what? Guess
Yep.
what? This isn't for the swift. It's for those that endure.
Yes.
So you see, from
Absolutely.
morning 5 o'clock curfew till 12
Yep.
o'clock curfew, we outside though.
Yep. Yep.
We
Absolutely.
outside though.
But I want to tell you, Emmanuel, I mean, your show is touching, it's reaching people too, because I had an audience with 30 folks last weekend that came, it originated from a viewer who was watching this show and invited their friends to come on and view the show. And on Sunday morning, I received a call asking me to come and see them. And I drove, it's a different parish. And I went up there and I met with them for 5 hours. And they were telling their stories. The one theme, however, that we have to come back to, and I didn't finish the last part of my thought on the last statement. Sovereignty is a very critical thing, and at this stage in our existence, that is important. We've gone into republic, but there's no sovereignty for the people so far. We have no idea where we stand or anything, so we need to claim our sovereignty. And two, I want to say that um, the Barbados Sovereignty Party is, while a political party, there are no such things under the previous constitution of Barbados. Every person that runs, and this is going back to the 250, every person that runs for election in Barbados runs as a single person, but you
Mm,
get the caucus with a party, which
mm,
is a collection of the individuals that will
mm,
then form the government. So the
mm,
parties are not recognized in Barbados, not like in
mm.
the States where you have Democrats and Republican and all that.
Right, right, right.
Everybody in Barbados is an independent political
That's
party
right.
by themselves. Now, let me go a little further. I have a lot of members in my organization. Well, it's not mine, it's our organization, the people that belong to it. We have the Barbados Sovereign People's Movement, and it's a real beautiful collection of individuals. And I wanted to bring that out tonight because even after the 19th, the Sovereign People's Movement still has to do the job of getting to the people and teaching the people, educating them to their position and the things that we need to say to any government or any governing party in this country. We've not been given that opportunity up to now, not independence, not certainly not republicanism. And we didn't have it under colonialism. So when are we going to get it?
Good
Right?
question. Good question.
There's going to be a lot of stuff after the 19th. A man said he expects a ton of lawsuits thrown at the government or the governing people of this country because of the way this was brought about. In what right mind do you call an election when you have 29 of you have 30 of the 30 candidates in your party? We're in the middle of a pandemic or plandemic, as the sister said, and we have a national emergency. Are we trying to kill people? I heard the professor Don Marshall say today on the thing that they expect 20,000 people to have whatever it's called, by election day in Barbados. That's 20,000 people will be disenfranchised.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying that the 20,000 people vote
So
for
wait,
me.
hold on a second. What's the protocols put in place for individuals who have tested, you know, positive for this COVID as it relates to casting their ballot? If they're quarantined and they can't get out, what provision is being put in place to ensure that they have a say in the direction the country goes in? Is
I
there
would like
even a policy in place or
no.
some kind of protocol in place, some kind of mechanism? And if it's electronic, how do we know that is going to be utilized in a manner that's more secure? I mean, these are things that, the funny thing is this, man, you're not even hearing anything about anything of the such. Imagine you got 20 or
By
30,000 people
none
out
of
here.
the so-called parties. What I find interesting too, as you said, the media is slanted. I watched them try to misuse my name by putting the wrong name and all kinds of stuff behind me, right? And I find that very interesting. I've never received a call from the Electoral and Boundaries Commission. They've never delivered anything to me. I've had to go there, collect my stuff, and all this here. I'm sure there are other candidates out there that are having the same experience, but I'm not knocking them now. I would like uh, the court of Barbados, the Supreme Court of Barbados, to tell me before the 19th.
I think this question right here is what the court should tell you.
That's
How
what
does
I'm
it?
saying.
How
That's
do
what I'm
you
saying.
keep? How do you keep that many people, or how do you restrict, rather, the word to use, that many people from having a say in something as significant as a general election during a pandemic without putting mechanisms in place and protocols in place to ensure that they have an opportunity to speak their truth?
I
And
want to
then
be
what does
provocative.
that say that the sister asks? What does that say about the authenticity or the validity of the so-called election selection?
I want to be provocative here. You have a president who issues the writ to dissolve parliament and to call an election. Is the president serving the party or the people? What is the
That is a good
president to do?
question.
So if the president is supposed to be serving the people, when the call was made to dissolve parliament, did the president have independent thought and able to say to whomever made that call, I'm sorry, but this is not a good time for an election. You know, reasonable people would have said, well, you have 18 months to go. Why is there this need to
So let
have
me
an
ask you this question. You're
time?
suggesting that the president of this country had the authority to say, well, look, although you're calling election Madame Prime Servant, I don't I would have to seek counsel on that and answer some questions before I go ahead and just jump and agree.
I would assume
As a
that
matter of fact, what is the protocol? Let me go a little step further, man. Under the Republic slash, what would be the protocol under the initial Constitution versus the imaginary protocols of the Republic that would govern the prime minister, the president slash, well, governor general slash president in a situation like this? What would be the protocol? Does she simply go ahead and make an agreement? Does she seek counsel? Does she answer a question? Does she go to her advisors? What is the protocol?
well in the
And what
past it
measure
would
of
have been
rule, what rule of law is used to come to the point where you can either A, agree, or B, disagree and veto that idea? That's the word to use.
right. In the past it would have been the queen, obviously. But since we've gone republic, there's no one above the president anymore. The prime minister basically said to her, dissolve parliament, and she did. There was no consideration for the people because this is not a people's republic. This is a
And the
parliament
president must go too.
republic,
The
right?
president must go
And
too.
clean slate. You
Clean
can't put
slate.
new wine
Clean
in
slate.
old wineskins.
Clean
It's the
slate.
day is over. It's done. I heard something a little bit earlier. I met with Apostle Canterbury last night in St. Peter at one of our rallies there. And he came to me, and this is the first time we ever had a face-to-face conversation. And he told me some stuff. Tonight I saw him on the Marcia, a week show before I came on here. He had an hour. I'm going to tell you something that is very personal to me. I don't really tell it a lot. Uh, but I was in Canada 17 years ago. I had an experience. sitting in my living room where I heard a voice telling me to go to the Caribbean. It didn't say Barbados. It said, you're going to go to the Caribbean. And it continued on to speak about certain things that would eventually happen. I kind of ignored it because I really didn't want to have my emotions kind of tampered with. Um, about a year and a half in, um, I started having personal problems. My marriage fell apart, all kinds of nonsense that was not even considered before. Eventually, I was running to Florida because I did not want to come to the Caribbean. In all honesty, I did not. I just couldn't see myself being in this environment for a lot of different reasons. Now, I'm cutting the story short, but I'm saying this for a reason, Emmanuel. I got to New York and a strange thing happened. The day after I arrived in New York, I'm with my partner. He had a whole pile of money that we could have done well. We were going to buy a house in Florida, buy a yacht, and kind of hang out, two men, gentlemen kind of life, You leave the cold north and do that. I got 2 plane tickets sent to me by my biological mother the second day I was in New York. I hadn't seen my mother probably for years. I don't want to go into all those details, but the point is that was the 22nd. The tickets were for the 24th of December. I flew here on the 24th of December, 2001. I promptly fainted when I when I got into the arrival hall. I was fine until I went to get my luggage, and all of a sudden, my head went light and my feet just went out. And the next thing I knew, people were holding me and smacking my face and all kinds of stuff. And I came out. But let me say this. There is prophecy, and I'm not about to preach, but there's prophecy about this island. At the age of 12, I was on the bus going to the library to do homework with a Jewish friend of mine, a girl, Beth is her name. And most people that don't know me, I was raised in the faith, so I followed it all of my life. Now, let me go a little bit further. There are things that we don't know about ourselves. First of all, Barbados is the first Jewish settlement, what they call Jewish. We weren't Jewish then. We were Hebrews and Hebrews in those days. And over time, we've adopted this new word through the Greeks and the Romans called the Jew, right? There was no J in our alphabet. I can still to this day, if I read my Torah, there's no such thing, yeah? But watch me. Barbados is the center of the universe, the center of the globe, right? If you look at my emblem for my party and my movement, you'll see it is a dove with the rod and Barbados sitting in the middle of the globe. There's a reason for this. The end time revival will start here in Barbados, and it will spread to St. Lucia and through the Caribbean, including Cuba, and then the rest of the world. And I say that I'm not a person to make prophetic announcements or anything like that.
Like that brother in UK, huh?
Right. Watch this. Look at Emmanuel. You know me well enough. We've known each other for a lot of years now. We've had conversations that people will never know anything about. But watch this. Listen to the wind. Look at the stars. Look in the skies. There's a lot of things going on. We are asleep. You said it earlier. Please wake up, my people. God is at hand. And it's not meaning that somebody's going to come over with a big stick and beat you over the head. It means you have choices, you have decisions to make.
That's
and
right.
Based on those decisions will determine whether you go back to Egypt or whether you stay free.
Or whether we depart the Red Sea, huh?
Exactly, sir.
The Red Sea.
Now,
okay.
I heard Apostle
Get on board, right?
Yeah, I heard Apostle Scanderberry tonight on the Marcia Week show, and he said he actually said very similar things, which I never knew because I've never known the man that long and we've never had that conversation.
Mhm.
But it's interesting that lately I've been meeting all these people who have the pieces. It's like having a book, but everybody has a different page, and now they all have to meet together. Alex Mitchell and I often have this conversation. We knew each other 4 years before we met each other. We've now known each other in the physical realm for 6 years, and yet we carry two ends of the same coin. He carries one, and I carry the other one. I find that so interesting. You should have
That's
a
why I told. That's why I told you, and I said tonight again that now the people that care the most, the people that sincerely and genuinely care, are those who are out here representing the coalition and making that difference on the ground, literally boots on the ground,
yes.
connecting with the people and speaking from their heart. Before you go, I have a brother ask a question here. So, what is your? By the way, David, good night. I see you. So, what is your party slogan?
Make that change. Make that change. Michael Jackson said it. Michael Jackson, like Bob Marley, they're prophets. They're people
That's
who
right. That's right. Messengers, man. Just messengers. That's all.
absolutely. That came to me when we decided because the name of the party was different for the past 4 years. We just changed it when we were going into Republic to reflect because it's actually called Barbados Sovereignty Party Republic. It's actually we don't stress the Republic part, but that is actually the under the bottom of
There's so much we have to do and so much we have to correct. And I think that what you guys are doing is definitely a step in the right direction.
Thank you.
Before you go, though, I want to wrap it up here. Before you go, again, tell Barbados, all you're listening now live, and those who will watch it in the days to come, leave a word with them of hope and encouragement.
I want to say that I'm happy to be here in Barbados. It took me a long time to figure out why I actually came. I knew why I came, but I wasn't happy in the first years. I was miserable. I'd lost my wife, my children that I love, the home that I've lived in comfortably. I thought I had it all, but God's work had to be done. The work that I do is not about money. It's not about a job. I have sufficient to survive. I can survive. Put me anywhere in the world, I'll survive. But what it is that I was born in this country for this day. I was born specifically for this day. And whether I'm elected to Parliament or not on the 19th, that God will decide based on the plans that the gods have. Now, I will say this, Barbados, this is your chance to wake up. This is your chance to take control of your life. No more are you going to acquiesce or be condescended to by some foreign, power or even local power that has been paid off or whitewashed to suit a circumstance. I didn't have to come back here, and I beg for no sympathy or empathy even. I am fighting for the life of my family, my friends.
That's right. That's right.
I want to be your family's representative in the Parliament of Barbados, even if it is just me, to speak and to say what has to be said on your behalf. It's not about any money. It's not about a job. It's about changing the course that has to be changed in this country.
That's right.
Thank you all for giving me the time, for giving me the opportunity to express myself. I want to always be open and transparent. I want to be, let me ask you, a couple things nagged me. We were supposed to have integrity legislation. Didn't happen, but we have an election. We were supposed to have recall legislation. Didn't happen, but we had an early election. People, wake up.
Serious. I think
In this charade.
it's time. I agree. The shenanigans, man. The gig's up, man. Notice say the gig's up. The gig's up, man. People know what time it is now. So the question is, where do we go from here?
One prediction I will say.
Sure, go ahead.
Before the DLP was wiped out, Alex Mitchell, Michael Thompson, all of them would tell you in our meetings, I said 30-0. I felt it. I saw it actually. I told them the BLP had 2 years to get it right. And at 2 years, that pendulum that swung up there is going to come back and wake them up. I'll make a prediction on this show tonight.
Well, you know what?
Gone.
It swings both ways. So you know, I would stop tell them to stop, drop, and roll, man. Practice stop, dropping, and rolling. Listen, I want to thank you, man, for coming through and sharing again, as always. And you know, to everybody else watching on Facebook, big up to you too, family. If you haven't done so already, make sure you like the page. Everybody keep telling me I ain't getting the notifications. Listen, like the page, click on notification bell, click on all, so that you get at least the notifications when we go in live, so you would know what time it is. Because you know already, you know what happened already.
If the BLP people don't want to vote, the DLP people don't want to vote, go out there and exercise your right. Vote.
Make sure you do what you have to do onto this, whatever it is. But the whole point is let your voice be heard, because silence right now is being complicit. And the reality, the fact is, we got to make a difference. We know that there's some folks who may have their different opinions, but the reality is that one mindset, that one energy that we're looking at is the one Barbados we're talking about. Because what they plan on doing is for a whole different program. Like I was saying, ISIS, which ISIS just up, poof, pow, and disappeared. She probably lost signal or battery died. But shout out to ISIS for coming through as well. Big up to the sister. As always, I know she got a whole lot to share. We're going to have to give ISIS a whole show for herself, a whole evening program to do her thing. And the reality right now is knowledge.
And support Melissa. Melissa that's the lady should be minister.
St. George North.
Economic
development. North.
Barbados. She's
the lion in Gun Hill, conquering lion. No, it's a reality. And Solutions Barbados, I mean, a lot can be said about it. What I would say is this: there are individuals who are sincerely looking to make a difference, and I think you should at least give them an ear and recognize that their energy, what they're saying, is not a campaign charade. It's not a fete, not a party. Folks on the ground speaking from their heart with genuine ideas that can work once we come together. And that's the whole idea. Not sitting down waiting to come
free party.
Give you a hint. Shout out to Alex as well. And Brother Scanterbury too. Shout out to Brother Scanterbury as well, and his team as well. Putting in work, Brother Master Omar and the others. Yes. So we give thanks. We welcome the rain, the energy that's being released. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. I might go on the farm actually. I feel like making a farm trip tonight. Though. The rain falling. Nah, because they had some plans to do some things, and they moved up when the rain falling. Look, man, I might look. You say going to green already. You say going to green. I get in the farm right now. So yes. I wish I had some company, but nevertheless, the ancestors rolling with the eye. Many are with us, more with us than with them. Phil, I want to thank you again, and we're gonna connect over the weekend. Remember, family, we got Sunday at 1 o'clock. We got a special Sunday school with the brother Apostle Joshua Maponga, Zimbabwe born, South Africa raised. Europe, I think went to school in Europe somewhere. Did theology and all this other stuff. But his transition from being a minister, dealing with African spirituality and connecting the two, and the lessons and the message he has to bring. Phil, I know you don't want to miss it.
No, not at all. I will be busy though.
Especially when he puts on the white linen with the blue stripes in it. Yeah.
I have some surprises of my own coming Monday. And,
nice.
Like it, but
nice. This is about, listen, it's about, because don't forget, while the Hebrews were in Egypt, they had forgotten who they were.
Yes.
This scenario is no different. That's why Moses had to come and remind the people of who their God was. Sorry, correct. Who their God is, rather. Pardon me. Because God is never was. Yes. And it's only then that the rain started to pour. It's only then that they realized and responded. So, we can say wait all we like. Until we get the people in that vibration, nothing is going to happen. But apparently it is that time, and everything is about to happen. So we give thanks, brother.
The switch is about to be turned on.
That's right. That's right.
Everyone is going to hear about
it. That's right.
And it's going to change.
That's right. I give thanks, brother Phil. Blessed love, King. Blessed love, man. Shalom, bro. Yes, family. Let me tell you something, man. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. This is how it happens. This is how we going. It's minutes. Is what time is it now? It's almost 10:30. We've been running a little late tonight. But y'all have a blessed night. I want to play this song by RPB, the one, The Country's Sick. The Country's Sick. I mean, I got two R&B songs. Look, Ray Plastic, but I grew up hearing the name. I don't really, he was the man, but lately I noticed he quiet. I know, perhaps he's tired of perhaps he realized that his songs are just that, songs. But maybe they're messages like all the other messengers. I want to play this one tonight. If y'all can hear clearly, give me some feed forward. Let me know that you can hear it clearly. Give me some feed forward, family.
Look at the whole body, take it carefully, examine it thoroughly, and I am sure you'll agree with me. The brain can go up and forth, but people are meant to see. The two major parts of the free, struck by someone. The eyes looking all around us, the program indication. Some go faster now, the country has gone around. Because of all that media, electronic and printed, all the nonsense I hear and read. I know they are infected. The stomach is the food, and it's not expensive to know. The stomach, you can bet, has to be the supermarket. The heart, my right, has to be our central bank. Something got all over the body, so now you know that is money.
Blood is money. Man said the country got high blood pressure. The country got high blood pressure. All you see is red. Barbados one bush bath, man. A bush bath. Yeah. Listen, our red plastic by The Country Ain't Well. You can look that one up as well on YouTube. Wow.
Now you see why they call it wrong. The immune system not secure in my opinion. The body's defense is of course police and defense force.
Body's immune system. Clearly, the country ain't well. There's one more song by Red Plastic by called Issues of the Day. This is from 1996. Family, this issue ain't nothing new. This is political. Look, they talk about a political pillow, right? But let me tell you the truth of the fact is. One party might be a political pillow, right? The reality is all of them, right? All of them working against the people of this land, whether it is pillows or pigtails. You see what I say? Whether it is pillow or pigtails. Perhaps it is pillow and pigtails. I don't know where that come from. I don't know. I don't know if that's them and get it there, man. Listen, I don't know if it's pillow and pigtails funny a menu, right, family? But I telling the people, man, we gotta watch what they're eating these days, yeah? Whether it's a political pillow or a bare political pigtails. Family. Right now we get Ital here. Ital is vital. Straight up. Haile Selassie the first, Empress Wazira Menin is the one perfect balance. Here. I don't know what nobody else. And this is about the religion because I see a lot of people coming out with these other parties, these other independent parties pushing Christianity. Let me tell you something. And I mean this in the utmost and the most respectful manner. You know, God is a just and honest God. And if you truly saying you are a Christian and you truly follow the teachings of the Christ that's in that book, you know, a few of the individuals that was already inside the den of thieves should have been flipping tables, literally, not talking and being politically correct. Because when last I checked, Jesus flipped the table inside the den of thieves, man. He said, "You've turned my father's house into a den of thieves." You sitting there watching these people commit crime after crime after crime, yet you showing up for work. You supposed to have been flipped that table. If you had to hold a charge, which I don't think they would charge you. And make sure that the people know, listen, I ain't going back in there until they fix that. Because and let the people know the truth. A lot of y'all want toy line, right? A lot of y'all want toy line and peep round the corner. Anyhow. Yes, family, I see you. Greetings, Lou. I see you. Lou in the building. La Mama, big shout out yourself, man. I telling you, brethren, this is crazy. Imagine we walk the yard, right? And look what's going on, man. Mr. Harden can't die. Also, RPB. Okay, the song is still relevant today. Mr. Harden can burn. That's right. They're all parts of the assignment. Family, like I said, man, let us stop looking for comfortability with enslavement in a burning house. There is no comfortable position to obtain or to retain in a burning house. The objective is to get out, come out of her, my people, come out of her. Let us reason together as brothers and sisters and develop our own plan. The credit union, come on, man, $1 billion and they can't help Barbados and Barbadians. You kidding me? Where's the project for the credit union? Why the credit union invested in some agriculture project that the people involved in the credit union, the so-called small man, it's just, I can't even take it, man. Who by the way, might be the farmers. Invest in them farmers. Make sure they growing crop. Credit union can open up we call it a farmers market, credit union farmers market, where the food that they invest, the farmers they invest in, got a place to sell the food to the same people in the credit union with $1 billion in resources. I mean, I ain't what do you call it? Economist. But that's a great idea. As a matter of fact, I heard the minister of agriculture said he had 100 acres up somewhere in St. John, and they get the rosters 10, they will get him another 20 or whatever, and they will have this whole big project going on up there. So I took a drive the other day to see the project, see the advancement and the development of this project that going on up that side. I don't even think I want to touch down further, really, truly, because a lot of money was taken to invest in the project, and I suppose the project put on pause because it's election. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Yeah, the project put on pause because election. That's what happened. Anyhow, family, it was great. Give thanks for the energy from the family. You know, saying like I say all the time, y'all make this happen. So, you know, if not for y'all, it wouldn't happen. So much love and respect to each and every one. Hold firm. These are the times. Have a blessed night. Have a super positive evening. And if I have to say anything else, man, be upful and joyful. The rain now finished pouring there a little bit, little blessing showers, and the moon up. I definitely going on the farm. Got some work to do. I going actually, I'll tell you too. I going to check for these caterpillars, man. I check these caterpillars. They can't really do any day much, right? But at night, you're trying to eat up some stuff, man. Come in the morning to find the whole plant missing, just a stem. So I going to check on that. Plus, I want to plant some stuff, so I can pull it on. Well, not all nighter. I be there for a little bit. Might get a little sleep under the planting trees tonight. See what happens. So I get on the farm. So I had to go and pack the backpack and make sure everything's stacked and head out. So I shout y'all for the farm if anything. But y'all have a great night. Be peaceful. Be at one, and push the healing message, family. The people know what to do. You just got to get them up. But in the meantime, make sure you focus on getting your house in order, getting yourself in order. Eat well, be well, think well, and just shine. You know what I'm saying? Rastafari. Y'all be good, and we gonna link up Sunday for sure. And there's a special program Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So we put things in perspective, man. Just again to keep that hope and that torch of hope burning in each and every one of us. Y'all have a blessed night and give thanks again, man. Rastafari.